Dance St. Louis and the Touhill Performing Arts Center present Spring to Dance, the Spring to Dance Festival. It's back for its third year, next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's 30 dance companies in 3 days, and it's different every day. Please welcome our guests, Michael Utoff. He's the Artistic and Executive Director for Dance St. Louis. Gen Horiuchi, the Artistic and Executive Director for St. Louis Ballet. And John Cattanach, the Director of the Touhill Performing Arts Center. Welcome to you all.
Thank you very much.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Michael Utoff, let me begin with you. Spring to Dance is different every night. Has it been different every year?
Yes. We have an adjudication process where we invite all companies from the area to submit an application. And based on that, we have 3 adjudicators from around the country who look at their work, and they decide which ones merit being presented as such. And then I put them in the right order so that there's a semblance of a performance going on. So some of the companies, like St. Louis Ballet and other organizations, have been present every year for the 3 years, and more likely they'll continue to be, a stalwart company within the festival. But the programs are totally different every year.
Uh-huh. Again, is that true? Do you plan to be involved in the future?
I would love to, definitely. It's an exciting festival.
What's been your past experience? How long has your company been involved?
This is our 3rd year. So the last 2 years, we presented piece by George Balanchine, founder of New York City Ballet. And also this year, we're presenting Wolf's Fantasy, choreography by George Balanchine.
You actually worked for him, by the way, as a dancer at one time.
Yes, actually, I had a wonderful experience with him before he passed on back in early 80s in New York City.
John Cattanach, would you explain the relationship between the Touhill and Dance St. Louis? Because there definitely is one.
Absolutely. We have a presenting partnership agreement that they present the majority of their season at the Touhill Performing Arts Center. They have a couple shows at the Fox, but I think Michael could speak to the Touhill stage, and the Touhill Auditorium is ideal for dance, and so they really enjoy being at our venue and presenting dance throughout the year. Spring to Dance is a special arrangement in that we are co-presenting this, and Michael came up with this idea 4.5, 5 years ago? Just about that. And he's looking at this grand idea to bring national recognition to St. Louis and help build particularly the Touhill Performing Arts Center into a center of dance. And this was a great way to do that. And I got on board and helping him make it happen, and here we are today.
Michael, talk a little bit about that. The Spring to Dance features a number of St. Louis dance companies, but then it's dance companies just about from across the country.
Well, we started it with a modest scope, which was basically trying to do the Midwest as a whole and give the dance companies in the area an opportunity to be seen in a format in which they would be surrounded by other companies of as good of a high level than they were, so that there would be an impetus to improve in every level as possible. What happened was that the word got out, and all of a sudden we're getting even companies from abroad wanting to be part of it, and that's not our scope. We still want to keep it from the Midwest, but we do call it from the Midwest and beyond, because there are certain attractions that I think merit being seen in the environment that Spring to Dance offers, that will balance the programs, will showcase like what Gen is doing better, because it's sort of like an extension of what they do. So it's essentially that scope that we want, the creativity and the unusualness and the growth.
Why do you think it's attracted that sort of attention?
I have no idea. I think basically because we treat them well. More importantly, because the Touhill is an incredible temple for dance. The companies that we have brought here throughout our seasons have gone out into the world, basically yelling to the full winds of what an environment it is. But more important, I think the people that work at the Touhill, and I think even the people that work at Dance St. Louis, we're very conscientious of the artists and their well-being, and they come here and they feel like gods.
Wow. Again, I was thinking about the variety of dance, and it's everything from ballet to tap to hip-hop and 30 other things that we can talk a little bit about later. But I was thinking about how interesting that is to the audience member. But I wonder what other dancers get out of that, what your dancers get out of being in that environment with so many other types of dancers.
Well, still, ballet is a small circle network, so everybody knows everyone. Every year, some dancers, I guess, hosting or even just like going out, and after the performance, they know each other from all the ballet schools or, some companies they dance together. So it's a great environment, and it's almost like they're friends. And then, our dancers say, hey, this is where we perform. By the way, we, St. Louis Ballet, also exclusively perform at the Touhill Performing Arts Center. So it is a great opportunity for them to just to kind of share that opportunity, at the theater that they perform.
But I'm wondering if, like, say, the ballet dancers just get something artistically out of seeing a hip-hop dancer or something else that they may not be, familiar with.
Well, it's almost like across the border. Ballet, also, it's more contemporary dance, other type of dance. We kind of influence each other. So it's not like 20 years ago, ballet is just a ballet. Modern dance is modern dance. We kind of like introduce our own vocabularies to each other now. So it's not completely foreign, to ballet dancers watching or, being on stage together with other type of form of dance.
Yeah, I was sort of curious about that, like an artist. Like an artist might use oil paints, might dabble in pastels and acrylics sometimes. Do you find dancers do that a little, maybe?
Well, nowadays, the repertoire that is being demanded of every individual dancer in different companies is so varied that if you don't have an understanding or a liking of those particular forms, you might not have a very good career. Because even now in New York City, ballet has changed drastically with the influx of new choreographers coming in. In New York City, where I was at Joffrey, we were one of the first companies cross experimentation.
You were a principal at the Joffrey for some time.
I danced with them for about 4 years, and it was great. Except it does have certain prices you pay, because if you're not trained into doing the kind of moves that other people do, your back tells you that you shouldn't have done it 66 years later.
It's not happening to you, is it?
Oh, no.
John,
as bright as they come.
I don't doubt it. John, what about what Michael said earlier, the Touhill, a temple for dance?
Yeah, I was glad to hear that, and then, of course, again, backs it right back up with exclusive home of St. Louis Ballet. As I mentioned earlier, we were really focused on trying to create a center of dance, but I'll go with Temple of Dance. I can't argue with that. It's just an outstanding room. I mean, we do a variety of performances throughout the year. We do everything from jazz to popular concerts to classical music, but dance is really a niche that we have.
Since you bring that up, I wanted to mention one thing about that. I remember a time before the Touhill was built when there were some people who said, people actually come to North County for cultural events. And it seems that I know you haven't been there since the beginning, but they certainly have, and it's certainly been successful. And does Metrolink have anything to do with that, or?
That certainly helps. We're one of the only venues on a Metrolink stop, so it's easy accessibility, and that's a great way to get to the Spring to Dance Festival as well. I mean, with a $10 ticket and the Metrolink, parking is free at the Touhill, so you're not going to pay for that. But if you don't want to deal with the hassle of driving in, the Metrolink's a great way. It's about 200, 300 yards away from the front door. Is the UMSL North stop. So
and I think a lot that North County thing was sort of just a psychological barrier for some people because it's not that far from downtown or Grand Center or anything else.
No, and I think the excitement that Spring to Dance has brought forth can be told on the fact that the first year, was it, or the second year, we had the largest amount of single tickets sold at the door for one event, which was 400 people just showed up to buy the ticket at the last minute.
Back to the venue for just a moment before we go further with this. And I'd like to talk specifically about some of these 30 groups that are going to be performing over this 3-day period. And again, and Michael, you can ask this, since your companies perform primarily at the Touhill, what makes it a good venue for dance? And there's the Lee Theater, which is a small black box theater, and the Anheuser-Busch Performance Hall, which is, John, 1,600
1,600 seats.
So why is it a good place for you to perform?
Well, number one, it's easy to watch from any seats in your theater. It's very open space, and then you can see pretty much the entire stage from anywhere. And also, as a dancer, performer, on stage, it's very comfortable. And then the stage has a wonderful give. The floor is wonderful, and also has a depth that the ballet needs, more like a depth than width. So Touhill offers that space.